how far would you guys cap to when it comes to like pursuing a female?
I mean,
How
just
much
like
would you cap?
superficial things on the first. I mean, beyond like the first date, you gotta stop capping. Once you've had the first date, you can't just keep lying about shit. So like, if it's music taste and stuff like that, what I don't know. If they want to go to a certain food place for a date and I don't like that food, fuck it, I'll go. I don't care. But then after the first date, like I'm not gonna keep lying about shit. It's just stupid.
That'd be kind of funny if you did. That'd be funny.
Have you guys done that? Capped?
Cap it.
Huh?
Well, I think to a certain point, like you said, like on the bios, right? I'm sure, like if someone says, like, "Oh, let me know this," or like, "I'm into this," and you got to pretend like, "No way, you're like doing that!" Like that's so cool, just to like,
Yeah.
You're like, I really don't care. I really don't care.
Like sometimes if I like the girl enough, I will sacrifice my own interests to like it too.
Okay.
Or like you know what I mean? Like I'll take the time to try to like it too. Yeah. And you know what? I end up liking it. It's cool.
On that vein, I was gonna say, or like music, or like if they have a major that like I really think is like kind of stupid, I would be like,
Like
oh
what?
my gosh, you do this? That's amazing.
I don't.
You're a psychology major too?
No, not psychology. I mean,
No.
slightly psychology, not really psychology. Other things, but yeah.
what's other things?
There is one major.
Dude, I don't want to call. I don't
want
want to call out majors because, like, I know people, or I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
People are gonna be
do
like, "Bro,
I do
you're a
know-
music
I do
major.
know
What are you
people,
doing?"
And I feel bad, but like, the thing is, like, they have good jobs, so it's like, but the classes itself, like, because I minored in something. I minored in. So you guys know about this, like, because I complain about it all the time, and like those classes literally made me stupider. Like, I was like, I could not believe that, like. I was like, people are really majoring in this, and like they're studying for their finals, and this is their finals.
But what do you do with your life in
Like,
that class?
Well, like the thing is, like,
You get good jobs.
yeah,
out of that?
there's a lot of, because it's very like open ended, so there's a lot of like, you know, kind of like type of media like relations type jobs, and it's like pretty open ended. That like it doesn't really matter what you learned in school. It's just like you kind of just. If I'm being honest, it doesn't really matter. But like what I was trying to say with that was like that those classes made me so dumb. Like I had a class for that. Like literally my last semester in college, like I ran out of classes taken. Like I signed up late, so I signed up for this class, and we literally made like zines, right? But like,
Right, I remember. Yeah.
yeah, and it was just like I couldn't believe like some like the stuff. Like I mean, there was nothing wrong with it, but it was just like the way they like get into it, and everyone was so into it. And I'm like,
What was the class called?
I don't remember, but it was like
you know like what they tell like my job in college back then. It was called communications. It was called.
yeah, okay.
Exposed.
No,
the
no, no,
major
no,
that
I will not confirm nor deny. But the thing is, like, I will just to preface that if you are a certain major that I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you can get a good job. Like, you can get like a better job.
sure.
Than
Yeah, for sure.
There's
for
nothing
sure.
wrong with it. I'm just saying the classes you took in college, it was kind of fun. But there's nothing wrong with it. It's just as long as you get a good job, it's just like because I just remember like some of my final project, I had to like literally mail out like my zines to my classmates. I had to print it out. We got together on Zoom and we had to like book bind the zine together. And I was just like, this has nothing to do with like what I'm gonna do in my life and like why am I taking like I get if you're like an art major or like an actual graphic design and like you doing this stuff, yeah, like it makes sense. But like this is literally nothing to do with what we're gonna do in the future. So like I don't know why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's funny.
Exactly.
You had to take that class.
I
feel like
no
you took
because
the
we were playing Warzone and then I was like, oh my god, I forgot to start class.
I remember you telling me.
I was like,
this.
oh my god, I gotta check. And then that was the only class available, so I had to take it.
Didn't you like sign up while we were in game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was it was pretty bad. But on the topic of that, like, yeah, I think definitely you probably have to cap about that and just like,
Yeah, you have to cap in the beginning to get their
career
attention.
fields that like I don't necessarily care for that much.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like, I can still connect with people who are in that field, but it's like initially I won't really care, but I will engage. You know,
I'll be straight up. I think psychology is one that I just judge.
I will say as a biology major, I feel like there's two veins of psychology, and I feel like some people go down a very scientific route of psychology.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
some
yeah.
people like were in psychology, but then the stuff they talk about is like very
No.
open ended.
When they say they go to the science, I'm like, okay, I get it. There's like a science behind that. But when they say they want to do like,
What about like psychiatry or something? You know what I mean?
Psychiatrists are important.
Yeah, like therapists, therapy
they're
and stuff.
important.
Yeah.
No, you're important, but it's mostly the idea like people like just go into college like, oh, I'm gonna be a psychologist.
I took AP Psych. I'm gonna be a psychologist.
But the thing is like what happens is they do all that and they don't come out.
Well, it's
doing
weird
that.
You don't have a plan.
because
They don't have a plan.
Yeah, you
in
need a plan.
psychology
It's just something cool they learned in high school.
they teach you about all the different like perspectives of psychology, like the different teachings, because they have different like figures saying different things about psychology, and they teach them that, and then so once people go into their careers, they'll be like a Freudian psychologist. And like most people, even though Freud like had a lot of the foundations of psychology, like a lot of people, like if you just completely accept his teachings, that's not really like covering the whole psychology.
What I think is funny though, just like because I will say in high school, like psychology was definitely like one of my favorite classes, but I think it's just because it's a class that like makes you like evaluate others. But that's always been something I've always done throughout my life. So like I never really
psychology
figured
major already.
it would have to be something I'd have to major in. So it makes you like wonder like, is that like the first time those people ever really thought about someone else? That's what I'm just trying to say. Like I just like I've always like try to like read people. Always. Still do it, but I don't need to like be a major in it to really understand that.
So you think people who already have like empathy and understanding for other people don't need to study psychology?
I think you need.
I know what you mean. I know what
you
you
need
mean.
a plan. If you want to do psychology, I need to know what your plan is. You can't just say it.
I think for any job, you
need a plan.
Yeah, and that's the main thing about college is coming with a plan. And get internships, because that's literally all that matters. Which is stupid, but you get internships. That's literally all that matters.
Yeah. Again, to wrap up that topic, what was the topic?
That was the
how far would you go to cap? Like, right?
I also think it's funny when I see like guys like chopping up with girls and they're just like, no way, like you do that, or like what? It's just like really funny, but at the same time, like,
I was literally watching the podcast that we listened to. But they're like talking about how like what's it called? How would you react if you like your guys like if you saw a guy switch up when a girl was there? Like, it's kind of like what you're saying. Like, no way.
Yeah.
That's start switching up when there's a girl around.
I think it's funny and it's kind of cringy when I see like guys. It's like, oh my god, what? Like, you're so like that's crazy. But like, I respect it. I respect it.
like simping or something.
Yeah, I respect it.
I don't think it's always fake. I think sometimes a guy is like a softie around around girls, but then it's sometimes like different around because like sometimes you're different between different friend groups, you know. Way. So I think like sometimes a guy might be like a little more of a softie or like, oh my god, yeah, I'm into that, compared to like what he's with guys. But also definitely like 70% of the time they're also like full of shit.